somewhere. "Come on, Jessie Ann. You know you have nothing to worry about with me. I'll walk you home." At least he hoped he could. That tequila was starting to hit him pretty hard. "Damn it, Jessie Ann, I don't have time for this." He walked around the bleachers and crouched down to see under them. He felt a little wobbly from all the liquor, so he reached out and lightly put his hand against the metal of the bleachers. "Don't!" Small brown hands grabbed hold of his shoulders and yanked him back. They both hit the floor as the bleachers slammed down like a set of dominoes. If he'd been under there, he'd have been crushed to death. The silence after the deafening sounds of all that slamming metal stunned him. "You did that." Bobby Ray looked over his shoulder at Jessie Ann Ward. She was a cute little thing, but a tad innocent for his tastes. Big, wide brown eyes, a cute little nose, and full lips that promised all sorts of things he felt pretty confident she'd never be able to deliver on. She kept her long curly hair in 2 ponytails, and you could easily see the many colors flowing through each strand. All wild dogs had multiple colors in their fur, and, when human, in their hair. Brown, gold, blonde, white, and black all on one head made it hard for Jessie not to be noticed. Still, he'd had the hots for her since the first time he saw her, but Jessie Ann was the kind of female who you mated with, not simply made out with, and he had no intention of getting trapped in this town. Another Smith male with a pack of vicious sons, and a maid who didn't know if she loved him or hated him, probably both. "I could have gotten killed," he growled. "Don't snarl at me," she growled back, pulling herself into a sitting position. "It wasn't for you anyway." "No, it was for them. And do you think you would have ever forgiven yourself if they'd actually gone under there?" "They wouldn't have. It was just to scare 'em off. I'm tired of being hunted like a gazelle." He stared at her, and finally saw all the bruises on her face and neck, probably going well down her torso and legs. They'd caught up with her again. Damn it. He did try to protect her, but there was only so much he could do, and Sissy May simply wouldn't call off her she-wolves. Not even 17, and she already had her own pack. The females her own age followed Sissy around like the second coming. He had no idea what happened between them, but Sissy made it clear she thought of Jessie Ann Ward as their own pack omega. Problem was, Jessie Ann didn't much like that position, so she fought back when most omega wolves would have taken it until it was over. But she wasn't wolf. She was wild dog, and if she had her own pack... But the wild dogs were dying out. The young adults had been hit by a vicious strain of influenza that could only be passed between them when shifted. It had wiped out more than half of the adult breeders before their own doctors could get a handle on it and come up with a vaccine to stamp it out. The damn thing had left a lot of elderly grandparents raising pups and a lot of orphans. Orphans like Jessie Ann. Tragically, like the full-blood wild dogs in Africa, Jessie's people were becoming extinct, which meant she had no one except him watching out for her, and once he got on that bus tomorrow, she wouldn't even have that. "Jessie, you've got to learn to take care of yourself." Without thinking, Bobby Ray reached out to touch her cheek, and she reared back from him, which hurt his feelings, especially his drunk feelings. "I wouldn't hurt you." She scrambled back from him. "I know that." If she did, then why did she keep moving away from him? Annoyed, he grabbed hold of her ankle, holding her still. "If that's true, why are you running from me?" "I'm not running." But she desperately tried to get him to release her leg. "Then stop fussing," he snapped. When she didn't, he yanked her over and somehow yanked her right onto his lap. She gasped in surprise, her arms around his neck, her thighs on either side of his hips. For a little thing, she sure did feel good there. He rested his hands on her hips. Bobby Ray knew he should push her off, but all he wanted to do was bring her closer. She stared down into his face, those brown eyes devouring him on the spot. Yeah, he knew when a female wanted him, and to his utter surprise, Jessie Ann Ward wanted him. He watched her gather her courage. Then she moved in, her lips lowering toward his. He could feel her sweet breath against his mouth, and he could easily imagine how hot the kiss would be. He knew she'd taste wonderful and would respond to him like no one ever had.